He'll go back on. All righty. Question is on the amendment. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, advisory delegates, say yes. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? All right, commissioners, you've been advised. The question is on the amendment to the main motion as printed on the screen. All those in favor say yes. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The motion is defeated. Motion to amend the main motion at microphone 4.
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
You're so recognized.
My name is Stephen Smith-Cobbs, Teaching Elder Commissioner from National Capital Presbytery and member of the Mission Coordination Committee. I rise to amend recommendation 4 of the main motion so that it reads as follows, and I believe you have this. In the spirit of items 1019 and 10.5, overtures from the presbyteries of Pittsburgh and Western Carolina, it is important to maintain existing programs, percentages, and designees in the One Great Hour of Sharing, the Christmas Joy Offering, the Pentecost Offering, and the Peacemaking Offering. The 220th General Assembly, 2012, recommends that the current distribution patterns and designees be maintained for the next funding cycle and that the existing Special Offerings Task Force be asked to report to the 221st General Assembly, 2014, on the effort of new fundraising techniques to work collaboratively with funding recipients, update progress on the 20 million by 2020 goal, and recommend additional strategies. And I will speak to it briefly if there is a second.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Commissioner, you may proceed.
This amendment comes after consultation not only with those who are going to be presenting the minority report, but also with the Special Offerings Task Force. Our committee as a whole was very supportive of the entire fundraising and plan for moving forward with special offerings. But we felt, at least the majority, that we wanted to live into the changes in terms of the designees and percentages of the respecting offerings, and so felt it important to keep those for a period of time, yet at the same time allow the Special Offering Task Force to continue in their work and show the fruits of their labors with regard to cause-driven marketing and fundraising.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Clerk.
With the Commissioner, please return to the mic. I'm assuming the intent of your motion is to strike out the percentages that are listed in the main motion and use
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. In favor, microphone 1.
Mr. Moderator, Aaron Dole, teaching elder from the Presbytery of Genesee Valley. I want to speak in favor of the motion just made. My motion, I speak in favor out of my service on Committee 14, Peacemaking and International Issues. Overture 1405, Encountering the Gospel of Peace Anew, was enthusiastically supported by the committee to begin a multi-year discernment process about our denomination's commitment to peacemaking. The 219th General Assembly created the Peace Discernment Steering Team to create this interim report, which my Committee 14 dealt with this year and which has implications through 2016. It seems to me a strange time to be reducing funds for the Presbyterian Peacemaking Program. By dividing this offering with Global Missions, I feel that we will be taking the rug out from under the exciting work of the Peace Discernment Steering Team and the resources needed to conduct this period of discernment, let alone the ongoing work of the Peacemaking Program and the peacemaking advocates hired in some presbyteries like the Genesee Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any speakers who want to speak in opposition to the amendment? Seeing none, and there's a green paddle, I'll go ahead and call the question on this. Question is, will the Assembly adopt the amendment as printed on the screen? Advisory delegates, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? Commissioners, you've been advised. Commissioners, question is, will the Assembly adopt the amendment as printed on the screen? All those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Are there further amendments to the main motion? Seeing no blue cards, the chair declares the main motion perfected. We now go to the minority report. Are there amendments to the minority report? Microphone 1.
Mr. Moderator, my name is Dan Fultz, Mission Presbytery. I served on the Mission Coordination Committee and am in support of the minority report, and I offer this amendment.
This is the original.
We ask that the existing Special Offerings Advisory Task Force be asked to report back to the 221st General Assembly 2014 on the effect of new fundraising techniques, the work of collaboratively working with funding recipients, and to update progress and recommend additional strategies on the 20 million by 22 goal. And I can speak to that if there's a second.
That motion is, sir, the language seems to be almost exact to a previous one that we had discussed.
It's a motion to this.
Respond to a report that's got different percentages.
Okay. Was it seconded?
Yes.
Sir, please go ahead and speak to it.
Yes. The 20 million by 22 goal is an ambitious goal for our church and will require a concerted effort by all of us. It is therefore essential that the Special Offering Task Force help the whole church meet this goal in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker in opposition to the amendment? I will call the question on this item. Advisory delegates, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? Commissioners, you've been advised. Again, there's a text of the amendment, and this is the amendment to the minority report. Commissioners, all those in favor of this amendment say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it, and the motion is defeated. Question at microphone 7.
Mr. Moderator, Joseph Johnson, Teaching Elder Commissioner, South Alabama Presbytery, and I also served on the Mission Coordination Committee. Given the fact that the financial impact indicated in the minority report was this morning nearly half of the total expected impact for today's business, I'm wondering if someone from the Special Offerings Task Force or somebody from the GAMC can give an accounting of how those funds will be spent with respect to administration and program costs.
Is there someone who could speak to that question? And just identify yourself, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator. My name is Sam Locke. I'm the Director of Special Offerings for the Presbyterian Mission Agency. The $400,000 financial implication comes with recommendation number 6, the pilot program for the new World Communion offering being done in tandem with the peacemaking offering for 2 years. The costs of implementing a special offering include costs of creative development, content development, printing, fulfillment, and shipping, totaling about $400,000. It's worth noting that this financial implication, unlike many of the others that have come before you, is a financial implication for a revenue program. We estimate that those financial implications will fund themselves within the second year of the program. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Question at microphone 6.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Sarah Henkin, Missionary Advisory Delegate, and I have a question about the funding for these ministries. From my knowledge, these are ministries which are very important to the work of the church, and I don't know of what other funding sources they have to guarantee stability over the years of transition, hoping to increase the fundraising. So I'm wondering, since the rationale mentions that there are other streams, I'd like information about the percentage of the budgets for these offices that the special offerings currently fund and what other funds are offered to them.
If I understood the question correctly, it's what percentage of the existing budgets of the ministry supported by special offerings comes from special offerings revenue. Is that correct? For the Office of Self-Development of People, it's approximately 95%. For the Presbyterian Hunger Program, it's approximately 92%. And for Presbyterian Disaster Assistance, it's approximately 30%. It should be noted that that's a variable figure for Presbyterian Disaster Assistance based on extra commitment opportunity revenue that comes in based on disasters that occur in any given year.
Thank you for that intervention. The chair will declare the minority report or the substitute perfected. Question at microphone 8.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. I heard the question about financial implications, but I wasn't really clear that it was totally answered. My question is, what kind of review and accountability has taken place to assess the effectiveness of the marketing group, the communication, and the fund development, given the $400,000 financial implication? And I am Bonnie Orth, teaching elder, Albany.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. Linda? Joy or Linda?
Linda Valentine.
Executive Director Valentine.
Thank you. Yes, we have a process of review of our programs in which programs do a self-evaluation, if you will, and we've recently implemented this. So programs do essentially a self-evaluation. They get input from constituents that then gets reviewed. It also, from a financial standpoint, from an impact standpoint, to understand what the effectiveness of the impact and the effectiveness of the program is. That gets reviewed by the leadership team, and ultimately we report to our elected members, who are also part of the input process.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. All right, we are in general debate on the question, shall the minority report become the main motion? Microphone 3.
John Musgrave from Lake Huron. I speak in support of the minority report. If we keep doing exactly what we have done in the past, we will get the same results. I was deeply impressed by the research that was done on the special offerings. They interviewed me personally because I am pastoring a large missional church with expenditures of $2 million a year. And they wanted input on how to raise money. They have come up with some wonderful ideas of creating new interest in these causes. The difficulty is that most of us approach this situation in scarcity and fear. Those who have been receiving monies want...
Thank you, Commissioner. Moderator recognizes microphone 5. In opposition, Ms. Shaw.
Mr. Moderator, I'm Jeannie Shaw from Sacramento, teaching elder, member of the Mission Committee, and I speak in favor of the main motion. I do so because I am a local pastor and have chartered 2 new church developments and understand how imperative it is to speak to a new day and age. And the committee recommended some very positive ways to come with new steering, new special offerings. But I speak against the minority report for 3 reasons. 1, 8 former moderators wrote a letter asking our committee to continue the offerings as they are. Secondly, in my experience as a pastor, monies that are returned to the local church give incentive for members of our congregation to give. And the hunger monies that come back to us, the peacemaking monies that come back to us, are an important source of our ministry. And thirdly, it is a cause-driven offering. When you have Presbyterian disaster assistance,
Chair recognizes microphone 4, Mr. Etheridge. Mr. Etheridge, microphone 4. In favor of the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Please suspend. Mr. Etheridge, right behind you. Please let Mr. Etheridge to the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I had the privilege of attending the Riverside Conversation Saturday morning. This fact sheet was passed out. One of the things that interests me was the fact that the question was asked, what has caused a drastic special offerings decline over the last 2 decades? The answer, membership decline, inconsistent promotion strategy, low visibility, and economic conditions have created a perfect storm. Presbyterians in the pews recorded a declining knowledge about the special offerings in general. It seems to me that what we need to fix is helping people in the pews to understand exactly what we need to do.
Thank you, Commissioner. Microphone 7, in opposition, Mr. Harkis.
Paul Harkis, a ruling elder commissioner from the Presbytery of the Twin Cities area. I recently retired from 32 years in philanthropy, serving nonprofit organizations, raising significant gifts for them. One of the most significant trends in the last 20 years in fundraising has been the move to donor-centric fundraising. That is, looking to what the donors want to do with their funds. And the trend that we have noted is that donors are restricting their funds more and more to specific causes, programs, things that they can identify with emotionally and personally. This minority motion steers us away from that, in fact moves us toward giving offerings to a general cause for mission in the church. The main motion provides us with a distribution of funds that gives donors the opportunity to identify with where their money is going. And so I oppose the substitute motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to get one more green and one more red, and then poll. Microphone 6, the YAD at microphone 6.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Lindsay Ogden, YAD, Sierra Blanca Presbytery. I speak in favor of the minority report. From what you have observed in the past few days, we love the creation of a task force. I would like to remind the Assembly that this substitute motion encompasses the suggestions of a task force. A task force assigned by someone our previous commissioners elected. A task force of teaching elders from the churches we attend. A task force that holds these offerings in a special place in their hearts and only strive for improvement and an increase in the amount of money received. They have done the research to find a composition of special offerings that will work. If you think what we have now is working, how do you explain the 25% decrease in the past 10 years? We need positive change that allows more outreach. Why charge task forces to study and recommend if we disregard their conclusions?
Thank you, Delegate. One more at microphone 5 in opposition, Mr. Bowama.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ruling Elder Commissioner, Saito Valley Presbytery. Each one of us has a name, and when we are called and identified by our name, we respond with no ambiguity. When we are lumped and generalized, we are relocated or don't respond. In these two amendments, the minority and the main, both recommendations 1, 2, and 3 are essentially the same. There is no difference. But when we go to recommendation 4, there is a big difference. The minority motion does not mention the Presbyterian disaster assistance. Instead, it calls it community development. It does not mention Presbyterian hunger program. Instead, it calls it disaster assistance. Neither does it mention self-development of people. It calls it hunger ministries. To that extent, it is somehow relegating it to the background and assuming that when the money is collected, it may be shared among other things. I state here that these three organizations, Presbyterian Disaster Assistance, Presbyterian Hunger, and Self-Development, have done their best, and we should continue to support them with the percentages we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowama. Is there objection to calling the question? I'll call the question at this point. Advisory delegates, the question is, will the Assembly make the substitute motion the main motion? Advisory delegates, let's use the keypads. Please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? Seeing no frantic waving of arms, we await results. Theological students, 18% yes, 65% no, 18% abstain. Young adults, 31% yes, 57% no, 12% abstain. Ecumenical advisors, 100% yes. Missionaries, 20% yes, 80% no. Commissioners, you've been advised. The question is, shall the Assembly make the substitute motion the main motion? Please vote when your keypads are active. Please complete your voting. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? We await results. On this vote, the yeas are 26%, the nays are 70%, the abstentions are 4%. The motion is defeated. We go back to the main motion, which is the committee's report, or committee's recommendation, that is, as amended. Further discussions on this? I'm going to call the question on 1014 as amended.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Evans.
We need to add recommendation 5 and 6, and 4 should be as amended.
So on that list,
4 should be recommendation 4 as amended, and 5 and 6.
All right, 5 and 6, so we should add that to the screen?
Yes. Okay.
That's your screen. They can't change.
All right. Okay. All right, so we'll add to that 5 and 6. 4 as amended.
4 as amended, and 5
then 5 and 6. Okay. Everyone got that? All right. Let's go to the keypads. Advisory delegates, please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? We await results. Theological students, 82% yes, 6% no, 12% abstain. Young adults, 82% yes, 12% no, 7% abstain. Ecumenical advisors, 100% yes. Missionaries, 100% yes. Commissioners, you've been advised. Please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? Okay, there's one here. We'll wait for you. All right, Commissioner? All right. We await results. On this vote, the yeas are 91%, the nays are 6%, the abstentions are 2%. The motion is agreed to, and the item is passed.
Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move that item 10-14 be answered. I'm sorry. I move that item 1006 be answered by our action on 1014.
All right. That motion is before the body to answer 1006 with the action that we just took on 1014. Are there discussions? Are there questions? Is there objection to approving that item? Without objection, so ordered.
Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move that item 1006 be answered by 1014, by our action on 1014.
We just did that,
1005.
1005? 1005, sir?
1005 be answered by our action on 1014.
All right. That item is properly before you to answer 1005 with the action that we just took on 1014. Question at 5.
Mr.
Question,
Moderator,
yes.
Sue Spencer of Plains and Peaks Presbytery. I noticed that item 1019 is also to be answered by 1014. Can we just put both of those together and vote on them at the same time?
Yes, I'm going to do that next.
Okay.
Can we just combine them into one motion, please?
We'll go ahead and combine it.
Thank you.
To answer 1005 and 1019.
1019.
With the action previously taken by 1014. Is there discussion? Without objection, it's so ordered.
Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move that item 1002 be disapproved disapprove with comment, and I'd like to, this is a difficult one. It was a request for a special offering designated a Native American ministry. The cost was $800,000 over 2 years, and so our comment is we ask the Presbyterian Mission Agency staff, how's that for the new name, to work with this group to ensure that there are ways for individuals and organizations to designate gifts towards this cause, where we only have, the direction is to only have 4 offerings, and this would have been the 5th offering.
Okay. All right, and the committee's recommending disapproval with comment?
We recommend that it be disapproved with comment. With that comment.
Is there questions or comments? That item is properly before you. Is there objection to approving the committee's recommendation for disapproval? Hearing none, it is so ordered.
Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move that item 1001 be disapproved with comment.
Okay. Item 1001, committee recommendation to disapprove with comment. Are there objections? Without objection, so ordered.
And Mr. Moderator, Marcy Glass and I would like to thank especially the task force. Carl Davis is still here for the presentation that they made to our committee. I'd like to thank our team, especially Steve Glass and Dottie Smith and Pam Prouty, and the national staff that helped us so much with this difficult work on the offerings, and especially for our well-behaved and good committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Thank you, Ms. Glass. All right, how are you all feeling? Shall we proceed to the next committee, which is number 14, Peacemaking and International Issues? Give me blues or orange, and let me know if you need a... Shall we proceed? Shall we charge on? All right, or did you need energizers or a song? No. Okay, let's just charge on ahead. All right, number 14. The moderator recognizes Commissioner Laura Phillips, moderator of the Committee on Peacemaking and International Issues.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator, I am Laura Phillips, ruling elder commissioner from Newark Presbytery and moderator of Committee 14. Teaching elder commissioner Tim Womack is our vice moderator. Our report is number 15. You can find it on PC Biz, and on your table is report number 14, RPT. In committee, we reviewed 2 overtures and 3 items that originated with the Advisory Committee on Social Witness Policy. Our committee held spirited discussions and meaningful engagement with the business brought before us. In addition, we spent an evening exploring aspects of the interim report for the Peace Discernment Steering Committee of the Advisory Committee on Social Witness Policy, and strongly commend its invitation to peace discernment to you. However, all of our final votes were nearly unanimous. Therefore, we recommend placing items 1401, 1402, 1403, 1404, 1405, and 14NB on the consent agenda. Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move the consent agenda.
The consent agenda is properly before the body. Are there any commissioners who wish to lift up one of those items? Microphone number 1.
Jim Allison, ruling elder, Presbyterian New Covenant. I'd like to lift 1402, please.
1402 is lifted. Are there others to be lifted? Seeing no one desiring recognition, did I hear that someone wanted to ask a question? No? Okay. The consent agenda is properly before the body. Is there objection to approving the consent agenda minus 1402? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Let's go to 1402. Microphone 1.
Jim Allison, ruling elder, Presbyterian New Covenant. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make a small amendment to the motion. In 1402, paragraph 1, It cites Dodd-Frank sections 1502 and 1504. I would like to move to amend to delete and 1504. And if there's a second, I'd like to speak to that.
It's been moved and seconded. Commissioner, please proceed.
Section 1502 deals specifically with conflict minerals, which seems to be the heart of the matter in 1402. Dodd-Frank section 1504 does not speak specifically to those conflict minerals or to the People's Republic of the Congo. 1504 is a generic provision for extractive industries. By including that in the rulemakings, the SEC's job would be much more difficult. I believe it will be easier to achieve the objectives if 1504 is removed from this discussion.
Okay. Is there further discussion on this item? Seeing none, is there objection to adopting the amendment? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. The amendment is adopted. The question is on 1402 as amended. Is there objection to adopting 1402 as amended? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered.
Mr. Moderator, I want to thank my fabulous committee, 14, and our leadership and resource teams, and give a little shout out to my YAD friends. Mr. Moderator, this concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The moderator recognizes Commissioner Diane Bostick Robinson, moderator of the Committee on Health Issues.
No, they didn't, but you can do it.
Hmm?
You can introduce yourself.
I just start? Okay. I'm not Diane. I'm Charlotte Perchner, teaching elder from Great Rivers Presbytery and vice moderator of Committee 21, Health Issues. You'll find the report at pcbiz.org, number 21, and I draw your attention also to the wonderful covenant that our committee members created to guide our deliberations. We have created a consent agenda. It's baby size. There's 2 items on it. Item number 21-04, compassionate treatment of veterans suffering from PTSD, TBI, and other mental afflictions arising from military service. And 21-05, funding Presbyterians, PAN, Presbyterian, AIDS Network, thank you folks. Presbyterian AIDS Network, PAN, for basically for accreditation for AIDS competency. These 2 items are on our consent agenda, and I move it.
Those 2 items, 2104 and 2105, are properly before the body. Is there anyone who would like to lift up any of those 2? Microphone 3.
Mr. Moderator, my name is Emily Proctor. I'm a teaching elder from Baltimore Presbytery. I would like to remove item 21-05 from the consent agenda.
Okay. It is so lifted. Is there was there someone at microphone 4?
I wanted to do the same thing.
Okay. So it's 2104 is the only one left. All right. Is there objection to adopting 2104? Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. 2104 is approved. Let's go to 2105. Is there a speaker on 2105? Microphone 3.
My name is Emily Proctor from Baltimore Presbytery. I would like to urge your support of this overture to lift up the hard work of Johnson C. Smith Seminary for taking a report and instead of letting it collect dust on a shelf, proposing practical action. While I'm saddened that the committee decided to, instead of funding it, create an extra commitment opportunity, I ask the Assembly to, in supporting this overture, also consider giving to that extra commitment opportunity so that those pastors who seek training in HIV-related matters can receive it. It makes no sense to support becoming an HIV-competent church and not to fund it.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Microphone 4 to propound a motion.
Mr. Moderator, Mika Vandersall, Teaching Elder Commissioner from New York City Presbytery. I would like to move to re-amend this motion so that we go back to the motion before the committee amended it, to put the financial implications back in.
Okay. That's the amendment. Is it seconded? Moved and seconded. Commissioner, you may speak on that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Johnson C. Smith is the only African-American Presbyterian seminary. It is one of the most underfunded seminaries, and we have called on seminaries to be HIV and AIDS competent. We have given lots of money to many different task forces over these few days. $25,000 really is not very much to try and become an HIV/AIDS competent seminary.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Would the committee leadership like to speak on that item or to respond to that amendment?
It was our understanding from staff that they felt that they could provide the funding within existing resources.
Okay. I have 2 green paddles. Microphone 6.
Good evening. I'm Kerry Poinsett, one of the TSAPs for Johnson C. Smith. This project that we have at Johnson C. Smith, a lot of times it's done in our community. We don't have the funds to do it, but they raise funds. I'm definitely for this. We have been doing our contents and ministry through urban and rural ministry, but we can't do it on a, how should I say, a chicken dinner kind of thing of raising money. And we're hoping that with the support of the Presbyterians or even the General Assembly that would give us some validity to support us to encourage to go further with it. And this is where I stand with this.
Thank you, Delegate. Question on 3.
Yes, Emily Proctor, Teaching Elder from Baltimore Presbytery. I'm not clear how the Commissioner's resolution would be funding through existing resources. Could someone from GAMC please clarify?
If the moderator would allow, we would like Sarah to address that issue, please.
Ms. Lishernis.
Sarah Lasher.
Ms. Lishernis.
You stay.
Mr. Moderator, members of the Assembly, we do not currently have the resources to provide funding for this. If you chose to put these resources back in, it would take away resources from other ministries. And right now, what the original overture asks is that you provide resources to the Presbyterian AIDS Network. The Presbyterian AIDS Network is a network of Presbyterian Health Education and Welfare Association. It's an amazing ministry. It is a separate 501c3, and it has the ability to raise its own funds. What I'm hearing from the Assembly is the request that the funds go to Johnson C. Smith, so I'm confused. In either case, the funds that we would provide would need to come from current funding sources, which would mean that other worthy programs would not be funded. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leishinus. I'm going to call the question on this item on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment say yes. Advisory delegates says. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? Commissioners, you've been advised. The question is on the amendment as printed up on the screen. Commissioners, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it, and the motion is defeated. We go back to 2105. Further discussion. I'm going to call the question on this item, 2105. Advisory delegates, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? Thank you, delegates. Commissioners, you've been advised. 2105 is the question. Commissioners, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? The motion is agreed to.
Mr. Moderator, we are now on item 2101 on instructing MRTI to study and report corporate practices of health insurance companies and possible divestment of same. The committee recommends, and I move that the 220th General Assembly approve an alternative resolution, and the text can be found in PC Biz.
Okay. And that item is properly before the body, 2101, the alternative resolution. Is there discussion? Seeing none, is there objection to adopting 2101 as amended? Hearing no objections, it is so ordered.
Mr. Moderator, the next item is 2102 on instructing the General Assembly to take action to implement PCUSA's policy on inclusion of people with disabilities. The committee recommends that the 220th General Assembly approve this item as amended. I so move.
2102 as amended is properly before the body. Microphone number 1 to speak in favor. Microphone 1.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Sharon Brinks, Lake Michigan Presbytery. I speak in favor of this particular item, and I specifically thank the committee for the amendment they made to it, suggesting that perhaps it was time for the General Assembly to not just talk the talk, but to walk the walk on disability issues. I give you a C- right now for me as a hearing disabled person in this General Assembly. This is the one hearing loop for this entire plenary session, and they had to file it down to make it work. We had no assistive listening for me, even though I requested it in my committee, and we did a workaround. We can't just talk the talk here in the Presbyterian Church about social justice and inclusion. We need to walk the walk. This is a precious little that this will do, but at least it's a start.
Further comments? 2102 as amended. Seeing none, is there objection to adopting 2102 as amended? Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. The item is approved.
Mr. Moderator, we're now on item 2103 on providing just access to reproductive health care. The committee recommends that the 220th General Assembly approve this item as amended with a comment of gratitude to the Presbytery of Albany for its work on this topic. Mr. Moderator, I so move.
Item 2103 is properly before the body. Is there a motion at microphone 5?
Yes, Justin Marple, teaching elder, Western New York. I move to amend to strike recommendations 1 to 4 and the comment, which would also mean that we'd be renumbering 5 to 7 as 1 to 3. And if I get a second, I'd like to speak to it.
It's been moved and seconded. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm simply seeking to remove the recommendations that are either not necessary or that have the potential to perpetuate divisions in the church. And those last 3 recommendations are all things that we should be able to agree about and are in fact prophetic to our culture. So let us be united and not divided on this. Let us say what we can say together. Thank you.
Okay. Are there comments in opposition or comments from the leadership in response to the amendment? If not, microphone number 2.
Hi, Benjamin Perry, Hudson River Presbytery, YAD. I was on this committee that worked extremely hard to create some sort of agreement and common ground amongst a committee which it itself was divided. There were people from all ends of the political and theological spectrum who came together on this document to advocate for the cause of access to reproductive health care. This is not an overture concerning abortion. This is not an overture advocating for anything any of the health procedures that it mentions. What this overture does is it advocates the right, the fundamental right for every human being to be able to have fair and equal access to the health care they so desperately need and deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegate. Microphone 4.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Brian Simons, Ruling Elder Commissioner from Pacific Presbytery. As the co-moderator of Presbyterians Affirming Reproductive Options, I can say confidently that this motion strikes out what the denomination has already said they believe, what our policies have already supported, and what we stand for as a people, as a body of Christ. To strike this out pushes us backwards, and it pushes out just the human care for people in general. I would urge this body to strike out this amendment and vote for the main. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Microphone 5.
I'd like to speak in favor of the amendment. It seems like without striking those things, we have a very one-sided ruling. Oh, and I didn't even say who I was. I'm Sydney Rosa, ruling elder, Plains and Peaks, and I speak in favor of the amendment because if we just leave in the things that are suggested there, we have a more balanced approach.
Okay. I'm going to call upon microphone 1 since we had 2 in opposition in a row.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Mary Newbern Williams. I am a pastor from St. Louis, Missouri. I also served on this committee, and we did indeed have some division, but we came together because we honored our covenant. We realized that beyond all things, we seek to serve Almighty God. I advocate for leaving items 1 through 4 in this document because we really wish for people to have access to the health care they need. What we don't want is for people to, or women, to go underground and seek the health care they need and end up hurt or infected or dead. We wish to leave items 1 through 4 in this document so that people can have access to what is needed and their health can be preserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We've heard from 2 affirmative and 2 negative speakers, and so I'm going to exercise the option of calling the question. But first, before I do that, I'm going to call upon microphone 3 for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Tara Thompson, teaching elder, St. Augustine. And just looking at the motion here, it seems that the items are misnumbered. We struck 4 and replaced it with new language. So just want to make sure that that gets corrected.
Mr. Clerk.
Yes, Commissioner, you are correct. The 4 was already struck
Thank you.
earlier.
So is the maker of the motion then wanting to strike 1 through 3? Where's the maker of the motion? Okay. Mr. Marple.
Yes, that's the idea, 1 through 3. I didn't know if maybe the number 4 was just missing somewhere in there, but yeah, 1 through 3.
All right. So just 1 through 3 and the comment?
That is correct.
And then renumbering 5, 6, and 7 as
As
the new
1,
2,
2, and 3.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Is that clear to everyone? Okay. That's what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and call the question. Is there objection to calling the question? Hearing no objection, question is called. Question is on item 2103, keypads. Advisory delegates, please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting now. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? Okay, we'll wait. Right. Voting on the amendment. The vote is on the amendment, not on 2103, on the amendment. Okay. Everyone has voted who wishes to vote. We await results. Theological students, yes, 5%. No's, 95%. Abstain, 0%. Young adults, 23% yes, 72% no, 5% abstain. Ecumenical advisors, 100% yes. Missionaries, 20% yes, 80% no. Commissioners, you've been advised. The question is, will the Assembly adopt the amendment to 2103, which is to strike recommendations 1 through 3 and the comment, and then renumber accordingly. Please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting. Has anyone not yet voted? Anyone wishing to change their vote? Okay, hold on. I'll wait. I'll wait. It's not working? Still not working? All right, his voting keypad is not working. Okay. Your vote is not working yet? Okay. Who else's keypad isn't working? Is there someone who could assist? Okay. 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 Thank you, Mark.
We left ours in the back.
Tell me when you voted, sir. It's okay? Good. All right. We await results. On this vote, the yeas are 28%, the nays are 71%, the abstentions are 1%. The motion is defeated. We go back to item 2103. As amended. Is there further discussion? Seeing, microphone 4.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Chris Enoch, teaching elder from Redstone Presbytery. I was on this committee, and I'll admit there's some things in this that I don't like, but the committee did a remarkable job of lassoing and gathering up the cats because we came together and agreed on something. I do support this motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see no further desire for recognition. Is there objection to adopting 2103 as amended? Is there objection? There is objection. All right, a voice vote first. Advisory delegates, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Any abstentions? Thank you, delegates. Commissioners, you've been advised. The question is, will the Assembly adopt 2103 as amended? All those in favor say yes. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? The motion is agreed to.
Mr. Moderator, I would now direct us to item number 2106 on calling the church to a new way forward on the issues of pregnancies and abortion. The committee recommends, and I move, that the 220th General Assembly disapprove item 2106 with comment that is attached and can be found in PC Biz. I so move.
Thank you. 2106 is on the screen, and remember that to vote yes is to agree with that recommendation for disapproval. Yes, microphone 3.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Carl Batesel, teaching elder from Lackawanna Presbytery. You're all going to love me for this, but I have a substitute motion. It's a good one, though. And if there's a second, I'd like to speak to it.
It's been moved and seconded. Let's be sure that it's on the screen. All right.
That's still the time I have left? Okay. This was one part of a commissioner's resolution that myself and one other commissioner officially, but a bunch of others submitted. It's the least controversial, and it, as the commissioner's resolution spoke about a new way forward in regards to abortion and problem pregnancies in cooperative ministry. To move forward, the first step is to know where you are to begin. And there hasn't been a Presbyterian panel study on abortion since June of 1990. So.
All right. The amendment is in the form of a substitute. We go through the perfecting process. Are there any amendments to the main motion 2106, the committee's recommendation? I declare. Question and 1. Is it related to the perfecting the main motion?
Oh, it was a question to his amendment.
A question to his amendment? Okay. Let me just declare first that the main motion is perfected. Hold on first to that question. Is there a motion on microphone 4, an amendment to We're now looking at the substitute motion to perfect that. The main one is already perfected. Commissioner, why don't you go ahead and ask that question to the maker since we're in the process of perfecting the substitute.
Well, I don't know if it's because it's late or if I just fully do not understand what he's trying to say. That whole amendment makes no sense to me.
Okay, it's a point of information. Can the maker of the motion just clarify? We are, again, in the period of perfecting the substitute motion, but just for clarification, can the maker of the motion please just clarify the intent of the motion?
I'm asking for the Presbyterian Research Services to conduct a new Presbyterian panel survey on the subject of crisis pregnancies and abortion, and including a question about cooperative ministry with those of differing perspectives.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that clarification. All right, are there further amendments to the substitute motion? That's what's in order at this point. Seeing no blue paddles, I will declare that the substitute motion is perfected. We now go to the question, shall the Assembly make the substitute motion as presented by the Commissioner become the main motion? Is there debate? Microphone 8. Microphone 8 in opposition.
Mr. Moderator, Larry Colleton from the Central Florida Presbytery. I do speak against this. I believe it's unnecessary to have a study. It's a waste of the Presbyterian Church USA's finances. There is no need to do this, and I just stand in opposition. It is an absolute waste.
Thank you, Commissioner. Someone in support, microphone 4.
Ruth Hamilton, Teaching Elder, National Capital. In the spirit of compromise, as someone who supports women's right to choice, I still see no problem with this. I think living in the city where many young women are not choosing abortions, I think it's very helpful for all of us to look at other things we can do together to support families, single mothers, and all the options that are, all the choices available. So in the spirit of compromise, I support this.
Thank you, Commissioner. The Yada, microphone 2.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Benjamin Perry, Hudson River Presbytery. I would like to speak out against this substitute motion, and I would like to make it very clear that it's not because I oppose women's rights or I'm actually a very pro-choice person myself, if I had to disclose my views. The reason I oppose this is that we are all called to be good stewards of this church, and the money allocated for this study is not a good use of that money. The 1992 report of the Special Committee on Problem Pregnancies and Abortion was an absolutely amazing document. I really highly recommend that all of you read it when you get a chance, as the members of our committee did. And once we read that, we realized that they did something almost impossible. They struck a balance that we could all live with, and they created one of the most moving and representative documents on abortion that I have read in a theological context. There is no need for another study. Thank you.
Let me just ask the microphone 8, there's a question.
Yes, Bonnie Orth, Teaching Elder, Albany. I would like to know what the financial implications of this study would be, this panel.
Going back to Mr. Batzel, the maker of the motion, what are the financial implications for this study?
That's Mr. Batesel, but that's all right.
I apologize.
I didn't receive any amount back officially on my form, but in speaking to Roger Dermody, Deputy Director of the GMAC, he said he felt it could be put into cycle of the panel surveys, and at most it would be about $5,000.
We've had already two speakers in opposition and one in support, so I'll call upon the last one in support at microphone 3.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Tara Thompson, Teaching Elder, St. Augustine. I want to speak in favor of this substitute motion because in our committee we discussed how 1990 was very dated, and while we affirmed the document, we did discuss that having more recent information would have been helpful. The other thing I want to lift up is that this affirms our current policies on this matter while also encouraging us to be in conversation with each other and to work together. And that's one of the things I love so much about our church is the connectional nature and the commitment to working together and talking together and understanding each other. So I would encourage you to vote for the substitute motion. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to call the question on this. Call the question on the question without objection. And so the question is, will the Assembly make the substitute motion the main motion? Let's go to the keypads. Advisory delegates, please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting now. Has anyone not voted or wishing to change their vote? And we await results. Theological students, 12% yes, 82% no, 6% abstain. Young adults, 22% yes, 73% no, 5% abstain. Ecumenical advisors, 100% no.
There's just one of them.
That one. Missionaries, thank you for staying with us. Missionaries, 25% yes, 75% no, and 0% abstain. Commissioners, you've been advised. The question is, will the Assembly make the substitute motion as printed on the screen the main motion? Please vote when your keypad is active. Please complete your voting now. Has anyone not yet voted or wishing to change their vote? And we await results. On this vote, the yeas are 27%, the nays are 72%, the abstentions are 1%. The motion is defeated. We go back to the main motion, 2106, with the committee's recommendation to disapprove with comment. I see 2 orange paddles. Is there any objection to calling the question on the committee's recommendation? Hearing no objection, the question is called. The question is, will the Assembly disapprove with comment 2106. Advisory delegates, all those in favor say yes. All those opposed say no. Abstentions? Thank you. Delegates, remember a vote of yes is to agree with the committee's recommendation to disapprove. Commissioners, all those in favor of disapproving say yes. All those opposed, no. Any abstentions? The motion is agreed to. Item 2106 is disapproved with comments.
Sisters and brothers in Christ, with gratitude for each and every member of the Great Committee 21 and for the gracious way in which they conducted very, very difficult business with civility and a great deal of chocolate. This concludes our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, committee. Thank you. We're going to go to Committee 8. The moderator recognizes Commissioner Barbara Ross, moderator of the Committee on Review of Authoritative Interpretations.
Thank you. Oh, is our consent motion up yet? No, it isn't. Mr. Moderator, commissioners and guests of the General Assembly, I'm ruling elder Commissioner Barbara Ross from the Presbytery of Western North Carolina and moderator of Committee 8, the Committee on the Review of Authoritative Interpretations. Our number is 08. You have a report in print and you have a report on PC Biz. There's no financial impact from our recommendations. Good, you're glad, so are we. A few comments on the business we bring to the Committee on the Review of Authoritative Interpretations. We had the privilege of presenting to this General Assembly the product of the hard work of a special Committee on the Review of Authoritative Interpretations, which was created by the 219th General Assembly in response to the passage of the new form of government. In adopting our current form of government, many interpretations of the previous Book of Order rendered by the General Assembly and the General Assembly Permanent Judicial Commission were left like the cartoon character Wile E. Coyote, hanging with no support left in the form of government or changed terms. In other words, they authoritatively interpreted language that no longer exists in our Constitution. Other interpretations, secure in their foundation, continue on untouched, just like the Roadrunner. The special committee whose work our committee reviewed examined with great diligence all authoritative interpretations issued since the reunion of 1983, determining which still have constitutional support and which no longer apply. A perhaps unintended consequence for which clerks everywhere will be forever grateful is that the authoritative interpretations since reunion are now inventoried and indexed. Yay! It is extremely important to understand that in no way will authoritative interpretations that may, by your action, not be retained, do not disappear. They are like email and Facebook, forever. They simply become a part of the historical record of the church and may in fact illuminate issues for further consideration. They simply no longer interpret current language in our form of government. Our committee considered the work of the special committee with the invaluable assistance of the Advisory Committee on the Constitution, the General Assembly Permanent Judicial Commission, the Office of the Stated Clerk, and the Committee on Representation. We now present their painstaking work to the Assembly with minor word changes and a single exception under Item 2 that was determined not to be an authoritative interpretation for your consideration and approval. Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move approval of Item 0801 with this note. Within Item 0801, Recommendation 1 is approved as amended. Recommendation 2 is approved with amendment and comment. It was discovered that the item reference 90-2 should not have been included as an authoritative interpretation. 3 as presented and 4 as amended. Mr. Mark.
Okay. No, I saw consent agenda on the previous screen, and I thought you were going to do all both. All right. Item 08-01 is before you. Are there any comments or questions, any motions? Seeing none, is there objection to approving 08-01 with amendment? It is so ordered.
Our second item, 08-02, and Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move it.
Item 08-02 is before the Assembly. Questions, comments, or motions? Is there objection to approving 08-02? Hearing none, it is so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee, and thank you, commissioners and delegates, to persevering. The moderator recognizes Commissioner Joan Fong, moderator of the Committee on Review of Biennial Assemblies.
Thank you. Moderator, commissioners, guests of the General Assembly, I'm Ruling Elder Commissioner Joan Fong from the Presbytery of San Francisco, Moderator Committee number 4, the Assembly Committee to Review Biennial Assemblies. You can turn to your reports, number 4. Moderator, our report includes 8 actions taken on recommendations presented by the Special Committee to Review Biennial Assemblies. This special committee was established by action of 2 previous assemblies. The 214th General Assembly in 2002 recommended biennial assemblies to the PCUSA. They requested a review of the biennial concept to be done after the 219th General Assembly in 2010. Then, at the 219th General Assembly in 2010, an overture was approved to expand the scope of the review committee to include all matters related to the form and function of the meeting of the General Assembly. We appreciate the work of the special committee. The committee has put forth items number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the consent agenda. Is that good? Okay. Item 1 directs the committee of the Office of the General Assembly to structure the docket of the biennial assembly to include prayer, Bible study, and community building. Item 2 directs the Committee on the Office of General Assembly to construct the dockets of the next 3 General Assemblies in 2014, 2016, 2018, around the great ends of the church, the marks of the church, and the notes of the church. Item 4 will place all decisions made by Assembly standing committees by a 3/4 supermajority vote on the Assembly consent agenda to be considered on the first order of business at plenary. This is going to help improve the flow of business during plenary session. Is that good? Commissioners, of course, will still have the right to retain the right to remove any item off of the consent agenda. Item 5 asks the Assembly to disapprove the recommendation to add 32 additional adult commissioners with comment and refer it back to the Special Committee to Review Biennial Assemblies. Item 6 will limit the distribution of moderatorial election materials and will encourage the candidates to make themselves available for conversation with commissioners and advisory delegates. Item 7 will remove the nominating speeches for the office of the moderator so that more time can be used for actual questions during the question-answer time. Moderator, on behalf of the committee, I move the approval of items 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the consent agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Fung. Those consent agenda items are properly before the Assembly. Are there anyone who would like to lift any up? Microphone 3.
Remove 5, please.
Okay. Number 5 is so lifted. Any other items to be lifted? Seeing no one desiring recognition, is there objection to approving the consent agenda minus item 05? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Let's go back to 5.
No, we're going to capture that
okay.
later. Moderator,
Ms.
our
Fung.
first item for action is item 3 regarding the concurrences for overtures and commissioner resolutions. We will divide the recommendations of the committee into 2 sections because they affect 2 different documents, the Constitution and the standing rules of the Assembly. First, we're going to ask the Assembly to approve recommendation 3A, which would be a change to the Constitution. The special committee had recommended that any overture coming to the Assembly would need a concurrence of 10% of the presbyteries. While we agree that it is important for the presbyteries to work together as a connected church, we also saw the importance of the prophetic voice in bringing forth business. So we recommend that one additional concurrence be required for overtures. And in its deliberations, the committee found that item 3A would be better placed in the section on the presbyteries in the Book of Order rather than the section suggested by the special committee. That change is included in the amendment. So on behalf of the committee, I move that item 3A be approved with amendment.
Okay. Item 3A is properly before the body. Are there questions, comments, or motions? Microphone 3.
John Musgrave, Lake Huron. I wanted to make a motion before she presented her motion, and that was move that the remaining items 3, 5, and 8 be answered by the following: that the 220th General Assembly instructs the Committee on Review of Biennial EAs to continue its work and to bring recommendations on young adult representatives, concurrences on overtures, alternate means of discernment, and any other matters related to the form and function of the meeting of the General Assembly to the 221st General Assembly for its consideration. If there is a second, I would like to speak.
You wanted this motion to be, hold on first. Mr. Clerk, can you assist the Assembly?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. I believe I understand the intention of the maker of the motion is to basically refer the rest of the items in the report back to the Committee on Review of Biennial General Assemblies and bring a report back to the 221st General Assembly.
Correct.
Okay. So it is a motion to refer. Right. 3, 5, 8. It's been moved and seconded. Sir, please go ahead and speak to your motion.
These are very important considerations. Obviously, we have been here a great deal of time, and if we had more concurrences, if we had other means of discernment and decision-making, we may have been able to do business much faster. We also need representative of our younger adult representatives. To solve these problems this late at night is not going to be accomplished. If we pass this motion, also, we're through.
All right. I'm going to recognize first the moderator of the Bills and Overtures Committee. Microphone 6.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Committee on Bills and Overtures has been advised that buses are departing shortly. So I move that we arrest this report and schedule it for tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Oh, this morning.
All right, I'm sensing that folks, are getting tired. That wanting to go, yes. My mind is not even working anymore. Let me suggest then that we stop at this point. We will pick it up later today at when we reconvene. The first item will be the motion to refer. And Mr. Clerk, are there announcements?
Which ones are these? Yes, Mr. Moderator, the buses are going to keep running to 2 a.m. I will remind the two committees that have budgets, mission coordination and budgets, I believe is going to meet to the right of the platform. General Assembly Procedures is meeting in room 325. If you are not able to get on a bus, not able to get on a bus, please walk in groups to your hotel. You should have received at your desk a paper describing departure arrangements and transportation details for tomorrow. The dismantling of this room set up tomorrow will begin immediately after we adjourn, so don't leave anything on your desk if you don't want it to disappear until Detroit in 2014. So again, General Assembly Procedures will meet in room 325. Mr. Moderator, I'd also like to announce that anybody that thinks they've learned anything useful on polity pickup lines needs to do a thorough examination of their life.
Very good. I want to say thank you to all of you for being diligent and persevering, and to the Yads, thank you for this green shirt. It made things so much cooler up here. So thank you, Yads, for this green shirt. The Assembly will recess for the evening. First, prayer led by Theological Advisory Delegate Jeffrey Ferguson from San Francisco Theological Seminary.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jeff Ferguson, founder of Presbyterians for Bowtie Renewal and best friend of Cameron Highsmith, who is the creator of Polity Pickup Lines. Thank you. I had a joke about prayer and anxiety, but given the time, I'm making a motion to strike it from my prayer. Seeing no objections, let us pray. Loving Creator, Almighty God, we have gathered here and you have met us in this place. Praying together, worshiping together, seeking to be a diverse but unified church, doing your work here and throughout the world. With love, so that you will say, "Well done, my good and faithful servants." Thank you for the grace that covers our corporate and repeatedly confessed depravity and brings us back to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
The Assembly stands in recess until 9 a.m. See you in 6.5 hours. Have a good rest.
Threw a wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked to you as it fell, and now you're in my way. I trade my soul for a wish, pennies and dimes